Hello, and welcome to Clinically Unscripted, the podcast where we bring real conversations in clinical research to light so others can learn and avoid same missteps. I remain your host, Obi, and today I'm excited to introduce a guest whose work sits right in the middle of the topic we're focusing on today.
I'm Vinod Das, and I focus more on the AI-induced drug innovation in the pharma R&D portfolio.
Maybe we can start by trying to unravel the big elephant in the room, hype versus reality in drug development. Vinod, when you look at the current claims around AI in drug development, like rapid personalized medicine or solving diseases, what do you see as hype versus what is realistic, especially in the near term?
Yeah, that's a very important and very useful question. So when you practically think the drug development or in the basically in the research side of things, right? It's still in the scratching the surface side of things, because we are building the domain oriented language models which can intercept on certain therapeutics area and certain modalities and biomarkers, which is under construction. It is not fully baked for having it as a meal, but it is evolving, right? So when you ask me, okay, how long it will take definitely 5 to 10 years for something to be into a fruition category.
I think during COVID, there were some technologies that came out focusing on DCTs. Post-COVID, some of these technologies supporting clinical trials were no longer needed in practice, maybe because there are no longer barriers as to access to patients. Down the line, there has been a lot of conversations around using AI in different parts of pharma drug development. You see the biggest barriers to AI adoption in pharma today? Could they be primarily culture, leadership mindset, and maybe overregulation, or just the technology is not ready enough?
So this has multiple angles or multiple directions of an answer, right? There is definitely a culture change management, which is mandatory. And what is it for me when I do it? When I apply AI to productivity or certain areas where I want to do or hone in more value. For example, protocol authoring, right? You can use AI to draft it now. You have seen Anthropic Life Sciences or domain specific model which is already released, but it is not for everyone. It has been already available for certain niche customers. So it can understand the protocol and draft the first iteration for you, right? So medical writers can augment it. So that is already there, right? So there is a technology thing which is available, but is it fully baked in? No, there should be a human in the loop right now with the current setup. So human augmentation is required, and there is a percentage difference, right? Okay, content summarization, identifying certain leads where certain things can be a pattern or signals. That is possible with AI, right? And the bias, the nature of which the data has been processed, all is left with humans still, even though the attribution layer of LLMs, large language models, is growing up or is iterating in its thinking, in its capabilities, but it has not been to that extent. So the short answer is technology goes ahead always, then the governance comes following up, and the regulatory norms comes following up, right? And when you see the overall picture, right, definitely technology will be scaling up in an iterative fashion, and the processes surrounding it will be tying up together as we mature.
As a follow-up to your response, how do you think companies could address these challenges?
So I would strongly recommend to use the AI tools in the marketplace to understand what is real, what is hallucinating, what is fake. The future is contexting through applying AI tools properly, legit tools, and awareness of what is in the marketplace.
Appreciate. Which AI capabilities do you think the pharma world today is hugely underutilizing? Protocol drafting, writing literature.
So I would bank on literature distillation aspect. The reason is, right, we have a plethora of tool stacks, PubMed, clinicaltrial.gov, and other closely linked mediums, right, biobanks, for example, right. Literature distillation is a very complex, complicated setup, and putting it into a situation where there's less bias, less hallucination, and bring provenance to the data is not easy. Multiple LLMs to it. It's an interesting situation in which we are operating right now, right? Understanding the different models and its capabilities and its value to it.
Do you have any advice you can give to decision makers who would like to understand a bit better the key risks involved in adopting any form of AI in their programs?
Yeah, so the risk factor is also in multiple folds: what you use it for and why you use it for.
Right.
Say we spoke on the protocol side of things and the scientific literature distillation side of things. Let me piggyback on the scientific literature distillation, right? When you take that, it might give you some references, some citations. It might give you some synthetic routes and the summary of it. Okay, so whether that is a appropriate thing is something where you read line by line and understand it, or you have to use another LLM to cross verify it, but still it will hallucinate. Okay, I've tried that in multiple situations. So right now, with the current state of language models, human is a must. Okay, with the current state. The future state, definitely it will improvise, where you can delegate it, you can command and control rather than manually type it, right? Those things are evolving, but it takes definitely some supportive time for the maturity. So when you say risk, understanding the nature of evolution, which is very much important, what the models are doing, right? Gemini 3.1 Pro, which is a little bit advanced on certain things, but it has its own lacks. Like that, when you take Grok, right, it has its own capabilities, because the data set in which it is trained on is unique on its own, right? The weights applied is also unique on its own. So humans or experts in that particular domain have to understand the differences and articulate it. That's what I always piggyback on: the domain specific language models, which is more powerful, and it can complement a lot on diagnosis or personalized medicine or something which is the next level.
Who do you think would benefit the most? Preclinical, clinical development, or assuming in the next 5 years we're fully there, where AI is fully adopted, who do you think will have the biggest impact positively?
So, say for example, the animal models, right? Whatever we take it for understanding the behavioral pattern and other things will go away, can be going off, because we can simulate with the synthetic data, or we can do a predictive validation of it, right? So that will go up. That will be the first maturity which I would think of. Then the patient recruitment and understanding the patient diversity, right? That becomes easier, because you have a global understanding of different disease states and what is it for an individual, right? So the personalized medicine will take a one level up on its maturity, right? But the digital cassette of a human cannot be there yet. It takes another decade, where you get a digital cassette, I get a digital cassette of my gene, for example, right? So that takes time for sure, right? Another 10 to 15 years to some extent. Probably Jeff Bezos can get it first.
Thank you so much, Vinod. Appreciate the time. Hopefully, guests have learned a few things from you today. Till next time, wish you a very good day.
Thanks, Hobby, for having me here, and I wish you a great rest of the day as well. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.